which is perfect for my schedule. So I already got my plan, dude. It's like pancakes, coffee, Premier League. I'm all in, right? I'm all in. I can't get enough of it. And we were talking a lot about sports yesterday, as a matter of fact, because a Duke player, if you hadn't heard, Kyle Filipowski, was hurt. Wake Forest had upset Duke. And this is very big in college sports, where if you get an upset, the fans run onto the court. And I said yesterday, the reason why we have allowed this as long as we have is because it makes for great television. Great television. Even when the team's walking off the field and they lost. Like, I've been watching that Patriots dynasty on Apple TV. Oh my God, is it so good. I mean, it is so good. And sure enough, they show the Super Bowl when Eli and the Giants slay the dragon. And you just see Mike Vrabel with his helmet in his hand just walking off the field, and the look on his face. And it's just like, it was good. It's good entertainment. It's good TV, right? So the court storming thing in college basketball, I understand it because it looks awesome. And I said yesterday, I'm a broadcaster, so I understand what's happening here. Once you know the game ends 107, 109 or whatever the hell it is, you could turn it off. But court storming kind of keeps you there for a couple of minutes. Look at that. Look at it. And then, before you realize it, hey, look, the post-game show's on, and now I'm watching this that I never would have. And it's the hook. It's a little bit of a hook. So if you're the television executive, of course you love it. I made the point that it's like releasing the balloons at a political event, right? Remember Hillary with the dumbass? Wow, wow, how do they get up there? Wow. Remember that? Yeah, it's the same reason. It's good TV. Silly, but it's good TV. But when a player gets hurt, again, pretty much right before March Madness gets underway, that's a problem. That's a problem. And I said yesterday, I feel as if this happened to a player from a different team, it was Duke, and they're kind of the enemy. They're Darth Vader of college basketball, right? That's why their fans like them, is because everybody else hates them. Okay, Bronny James, who's nowhere near as good as Kyle Filipowski, he gets hurt by a court storming incident. It's a different story this morning, right? It is. It is a different, it's a little bit different, a different story. You hurt LeBron's kid. USC's not hated the way Duke is. And Bronny being, I don't know, put on everybody's shoulders right now is like he's the number one basketball player in the world. I think he's averaging like 4 points. It's something crazy. Like, he's a fine college player right now. He may turn into a better than average college player at some point. But talking about him going into the draft this year, which I mean, don't get me wrong, it's probably going to happen, but like, it's insane. Like, it's insane that. But we're having a different conversation. And I said yesterday, I don't want to end court storming. I really don't. Because I'm a viewer and I like the good TV. And that's why they allow it. But I said conversations are going to come out in this. And people are going to give you wild opinions. And sure enough, Alabama athletic director Greg Byrne has done that. He says he has the idea on how to stop this from happening. Quote, you have 2 kids run out there. No. But when you have a sustained rush like what you just happened the other night talking about, should we stop court storming? At Wake, you lose the game. That will get people to stop. He's calling for forfeits. If your crowd runs out onto the court after that, we're taking the win away from you. Well, I hate that. I don't want somebody in the audience to decide whether or not the player wins or loses. I don't like that idea. I understand how it got birthed. I don't like it. I just got done playing this game for 4 quarters and now I lose because the student section doesn't know how to act? I'm sorry, no. You're negatively affecting, this is the conversation starting over what happened to the college athlete, Kyle Filipowski, right? So I understand how that conversation starts because something happened to the athlete. Let's not do other things to the athletes because this happened to one of them. That I don't like. You want to start taking tickets away from student body? You want to start to limit who buys tickets? Hey, if you were on the court, we've got video. Guess who's not coming next week? Okay. Because most kids on that college campus aren't going to the games. Not because they don't want to. A lot of times you can't get tickets. It's hard to get an Ohio State football ticket. They hold like 70,000 people. It's hard to get a ticket to those games. So if you want to then enact punishment for something you're looking to stop, punishment usually stops things. Raising of prices usually stops things. You know why most people I know who quit smoking cigarettes did it? It wasn't the cancer. It was the $10 a pack that did it. That's what did it. It was the, you can't do this anywhere you go, and it's going to be super expensive. All right, screw it. You got me. I'll give it up. That's how most people quit. It wasn't cancer. It wasn't even close to doing that. But most people go, dude, everybody dies, right? And like you made it difficult for them. And so, like, punishment and raising of prices will normally do that. That's my fix. You want to maybe take NIL money away from a program. Okay. Now, you're affecting how those athletes can win in that too. You are. But I like the idea of putting it back on the program itself. Do not allow this to happen in our games. But once you start taking wins away from the players, now we're going to have the argument of, hey, remember in COVID when nobody played in front of anybody? It worked out pretty well. And now you're going to have that argument, which of course they'd rather sell the tickets because of the money. Yes. But more money, guys. Let me just tell you, more money is made in those sports by you watching it on your television than it is ever made by you buying a ticket and going through that turnstile. For sure. You know why every team gets $50 million in the NFL before the season starts? Because most of you are going to watch every game at home. You're never going to the game. Lay's and Anheuser and Coors, they all want you at home. They don't want you at the game. They want you at home where you're going to see their thing. And so, like, that, I think, could happen. I think taking a win away from a program over what the student body did is ridiculous. But if you want to punish the student body because of what has happened, I'm all for that.
You thought Stansbury was a mess on air? Check out the show's Facebook page at Stansbury Show. Rock 106.9.
You have those Primus tickets. Show's got Coheed and Cambria on it too. I'm going to get you in by the end of this hour. As I just gave you Rush there, a lot of people kind of feel like that's what Coheed and Cambria kind of sounds like. Yeah, vocally I can hear it a little. Like, I understand why people hear Geddy Lee and go, ugh, not for me. Like, I understand it. I don't have a problem with his voice. I actually like Rush. I've been, over the last, I don't know, probably 3 months, occasionally on the weekend, I've been doing a deep dive on them. And I've been listening, making sure I listen to, like, a lot of, I have a lot of the records, right? So I've been listening to maybe stuff I don't normally. And they're one of those bands, I don't ever put them at, like, the top of, like, here's my top 10 favorite bands, right? But they are really good, Rush, man. Like, they are really, really good. But a lot of people claim that Coheed and Cambria sounds very similar to them. So we'll get you into Coheed and Cambria. That show's headed by Primus, and I'll pass those tickets out by the end of the hour. We had been having the conversation again about court storming as a Duke player got hurt, and I think that's where a lot of people are not having the sympathy for it, because Duke is kind of like, well, the evil empire of college basketball. If you don't know the issue, it's very common in college sports. If an upset happens, and honestly, it's not even always upset. It's just a big win sometimes, too. The fans, the student body, will rush the field or court, whatever it is we're playing on, right? And I've said multiple times, it's fantastic television. It really is. It looks great on TV, which is why we have allowed it forever. But a player got hurt, and we've seen more and more of this, right? We've seen more and more players be hurt because of this. The player himself, Kyle Filipowski, said the other day, well, it felt personal or on purpose. I was like, well, the fan's running by you turns his head to scream in your face. So that was intentional. And I believe the fan kind of bumped into him intentionally. That I buy. Because I know how mob mentality and too many drinks in the parking lot, I know how it works. I've seen it too many times. So I believe all of that. I don't believe the Wake Forest fan was trying to hurt Kyle's ankle and or leg. I don't buy. I don't believe he was trying to make sure he was hurt. Right? But accidents happen. And when you act this way, negative things can happen. So we've been talking about it, right? Because everybody's got their opinion on what should happen. Welcome to the world, right? An Alabama AD, athletic director there, Greg Byrne, believes forfeits could stop the court storming. Says if you have just 2 kids run out there, no. But when you have a sustained rush like what we just happened to see the other night at Wake, You lose the game. That will get people to stop. No, it won't. You're not punishing them. You're punishing the team for what they did. You want people to stop doing something? Punish them. That's what has to happen. And I just don't know how you do that. Now, you could deny ticket sales to anybody that's, storms the court. You could do that. Now you're going through video and looking at faces and, well, who bought the ticket? And welcome to digital purchasing now, by the way. To buy your tickets online, because we know we have your IP. We know what this is. We know who was sitting in seat 7H because you didn't stand in line and pay with a $20 bill, as if you could buy anything with a $20 bill these days. But they know where all the money went, right? They know who's sitting where, and they know that there's a way to track that down. Now, third-party apps and all of that, it starts to get a little ridiculous. But there's a way to punish the people. I don't want to punish the team. You're taking wins away from me because the 500 section doesn't know that they're not allowed on the court? Dumb. Well, it's on the organization, it's on the team, it's on the university to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, so punish the AD. Punish the team in a way that doesn't take wins away from the team. Then all of a sudden they can get to their student body and be like, dude, you guys are screwing us over. But the average fan isn't going to stop court storming because you took a win away. They're just going to go online and bitch about how you took a win away. They were on to us, man. They know they can't beat us. NCAA, it's rigged, man. Rigged for the ratings. I was there. I saw it, right? And and that's what's going to happen. You're not going to change behavior through that. It's like, I linked it to cigarettes. When cigarettes became $10 a pack, that's when most people were like, all right, I'm kind of out on this, right? And that's when people started to walk away. You negatively affect those things, I think you can see some change there. Seth says, look, man, you don't really see this at the pro level a whole lot, Well, no, the security is much stronger at pro games for some reason. And I think people understand at a pro game, you're going to be charged. I think people get it, right? And I think people understand that if you hurt a pro athlete, good luck. Most people don't know who Kyle Filipowski is. But if I say to you this morning, dude, Kevin Durant can't play next week because a fan went on the court. Everybody, people who like court storming are like, we can't let this happen. Stars get star treatment, right? So now they're calling this kid a star, but college basketball doesn't have stars. They don't. That's been the argument about that sport for 10 years, is that there are no stars anymore because guys go to war with the league because they're one and done and then get there and can't play a lick. As if, man, if there just could have been a place they could have went maybe for 3 years to develop their game and get ready to play in the NBA. God, if there was only that place, Ben Simmons, unbelievable, right? So that's been the conversation around the sport forever. Most people kind of know. NBA, once LeBron goes, is bro, you're kind of screwed now. You're kind of screwed here a little bit. So they don't have a whole lot of stars to begin with, right? He says, I like the court storming, Seth says, but reserve it for highly unanticipated upsets. Everybody seems to be doing it now, which I think takes away from the significance. Well, I agree with your assessment, okay? I do. I agree that when it happens too often, it doesn't feel special anymore, and so now it doesn't hold the same thing. Agreed. That's a very easy argument to make, and it's because it makes a lot of sense. Okay? Where we would have an issue is, what are we calling an unanticipated upset? Because the way sports conversations work is well, of course a casual didn't think they would win. If real fans know that bench is deep and blah, blah, blah. And so now we should be able to do it because they didn't know. And that's all of a sudden now where it gets to be, we're picking and choosing when and where. Drawing that line in the sand, I think is going to be difficult. That's why I said yesterday, and I want to reiterate today, I'm not trying to ban court storming, and even if I were, they're not going to let me. So getting mad at me about it makes no sense. Seth isn't, but you take the point, right? I don't know how you draw that line in the sand. I believe the conversation's going to come down to yes or no about whether or not you do it. I could be wrong. That's my speculation on how the conversation will go, not what I'm looking for, right? Now, Dakota said this. He goes, this seems to be a basketball problem, right? This happens a lot in college football. He's like, Michigan upsets Ohio State. They're out there for an hour. Okay. So a couple of things there I do think make it different. If you storm the field after a college football game, I now have shoulder pads, hip pads, knee pads. I have my ankles taped up. I have a helmet I can put on. I have all of these things to protect me. Basketball players do not. Well, Stansbury, come on. The basketball player hurt his leg, not his upper body, so the NFL or the college pads wouldn't have helped him anyway. Okay. But the problem is that you don't make a decision after something's happened solely by what has happened. You end up making a decision by that and also what can happen in the future. By the way, if this were a college football player that got really hurt in one of these things, it's a completely different conversation this morning. America doesn't care about basketball the way it does about football. There are pockets of the country that care about basketball more than football. There are pockets of it. By and large, everywhere you go in this country, baby, it's that pigskin, Saturday and Sunday, when's kickoff. It's our sport. It's our passion. We love it. And so when it would affect that, it would be different. Now, what's going to happen in my mentions now is people are going to show me the 9,000 times a college football player maybe has gotten an injury from people storming on the field. I'm not telling you it's never happened. But like somebody said to me yesterday, dude, somebody died on a court back in the day at Toledo or something. Is what he said. I forget exactly where it was. But he had said he cheered at Toledo and they were playing somebody else and somebody had died. But again, that was like 2001. And I said, well, social media has exploded. And most of the things you can and cannot do right now was because people went online on social media. It was like, I don't know if you should really be able to do. And then everybody responded and then we got change. So I think if you heard an Ohio State player, a Michigan player, somebody that matters now, today, and it's shown 9,000 times by every sports blogger, ESPN, FS1, everybody, over and over and over again, you're going to see change happen for sure. Absolutely. People, that's what I've always said, people don't really care if this kid got hurt. They don't. But saying out loud that you do forces ADs to go, oh God, I guess maybe we should do something about this. So everybody's going to look around and blame everybody else for what's going down. It's always us. It is always us that did the thing. Because we always go, oh, dude, you shouldn't do that. And everybody goes, oh, I guess we shouldn't do that. Versus what we really mean to say is, oh God, I feel terrible that kid got hurt there. That's what you really, and I don't mean you know what I mean. Right? But that's kind of how that goes. I think you're going to see a change to this. I don't want one, but I think you are going to see it.
Like a wake and bake with an easy bake oven. The Stansbury Show on Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the Stansbury Show. 9 a.m. New Tuesday, and I got new Mick Mars for you. New Bruce Dickinson for you. And Austin Snell, too. 9 a.m. All right. There has been so much conversation, including from this room, about the increase in pricing in fast food. Now, I know why it happened, and it's not corporate greed and CEOs. It isn't. I know we want to blame them. I know. But I lived through the 80s. The greed decade, and fast food was affordable. What happened here is everybody went online and was like, I would gladly pay more if they would do this. And then they did it, and everybody has to pay more, and now everybody's lying. And everybody just kind of forgets, oh yeah, that's right, I did this to us. Like, oh yeah, that's right, I did it, right? That's kind of what happened. Is greed part of it? Sure it is, absolutely. But we need to be honest about what's happening here, right? Everybody tried to tell you, dude, if you increase the pay to like $20 an hour, Big Mac meals are going to be like 19. And what people said is, they should be. They should be. Okay, well, they are. And now the they should be's are awful quiet about it. No, actually, they're not quiet about it. They're blaming the CEO of the restaurant is what they're doing. They can't tell you who it might be, what his name is, if it's a man or not. Have no idea. They know for sure they're the reason. Interesting. I bring it up because Wendy's is rolling out a new system. They're toying with the idea of dynamic pricing. Some of you may know about this through buying concert tickets. According to the Post, Wendy's is preparing to test an Uber-style surge pricing. And it will fluctuate throughout the day based on the demand. So depending on the meal you want, it may be more money in the lunch rush or the dinner rush, and then be less money at off times throughout the day. Well, I think they're going to be shocked to find out that people's lunches aren't as universal as we think. Yes, at noon to 1, can you see people wrapped around those buildings looking to get lunch? Yes, absolutely you can. The work structure has been completely disrupted since COVID, and people are working all different kind of hours, different shifts, different this, different that. Working from home, a lot of people, this and that. So that has changed. So I'll be curious to see how that will work. Wendy's CEO Kirk Tanner announced the new system to his investors. They're looking to invest $20 million on high-tech menu boards that will be able to update prices in real time without incurring additional overhead costs. Okay. Quote, as we continue to show the benefits of this technology in our company-operated restaurants, franchisee interest in digital menu boards should increase further, supporting sales and profit growth across the system. He didn't put a ceiling on how much the dynamic pricing could spike to, or whether the base price would actually fall during slower periods. My guess is the base price will not fall. That, much like Uber, if they know you just left the Taylor Swift concert, guess what? That Uber ride's a lot more money than it would be. Hey, is it St. Patrick's Day? Get ready. We're triple pricing you today. And people have taken an issue with this, and I don't, like, is it the most moral thing I've ever seen? No. Is it smart business? Yes. Like, at the end of the day, and I expect businesses to run smart for them. I don't expect corporations to do what's best for me. I know a lot of people think, well, they should, but they're never gonna. So waiting at the bus stop for the bus that ain't never coming, like, I'm sorry, it just feels like a wasted time to me. Like, I don't really get into that. This has backfired with concert tickets, and by backfired, I mean, well, they're still selling out the stadiums. People are just complaining about it a lot online. And so is that a backfire? Not really. Not if, like, the artist doesn't care. Like, Taylor Swift does not care if you're there. She does not care if her biggest fan is in the crowd. What Taylor Swift wants to know every night is, are we sold out? Good. That's all I need. I don't need to know their names. I don't need to know this. Yeah, in the front row, I'll hug one of them and I'll kiss them on the cheek for that cool TikTok moment. I'll definitely do that. But at the end of the day, dude, come on. As long as the building's full, they're happy. And as long as people are buying cheeseburgers, the fast food companies are happy. Like, they are. They don't care who's doing it. They care about how many burgers are going out. They don't, you know what I mean? And so I don't think you'll see the base price fall. You're just going to see these prices rise when you want to be using it. But it does remind me of a system I once loved in Las Vegas that did dynamic pricing, but in a way better manner than this, and it works better in bars than it does for fast food, and I'll run you through that. We'll do it next and give you those Primus tickets on Rock 106.9.
Kind of funny you can listen to him on your smart speaker.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
The Stansberry Show.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
On Rock 1069.
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show. Just a few minutes, I'll get you into Primus. That show has Code and Cambry on it, too. You know what I gotta do? Just log into my system to be able to give you those tickets. I have to do that. Let's not do that now. Let's not do that right now. We've been talking about dynamic pricing because apparently it's coming to Wendy's. If you don't know what dynamic pricing is, that's the cool, trendy name for surge pricing. Essentially, when the company is more valuable or more heavily trafficked and used, the more money you are going to pay. Uber does this after concerts. New Year's Eve, you pay more. St. Patrick's Day, you're going to pay more because they know you want to be using it, right? Now, I said it's not the most moral thing I've ever seen, but it is smart business. And I expect businesses to run smart for them and not what's best for me. right? I'm a pessimist, otherwise known as a realist. And I mean, it's just the way it's going to be, right? We've seen it with concert tickets, and now it's apparently headed for fast food, dynamic pricing. So they're toying with the idea of like your favorite meal at Wendy's being more money in the lunch rush and the dinner rush, and then off, you know, peak hours it may be down. Keith, not a fan of it, sent me the text at 330-450-7625. He goes, at this rate, you know, the gas company should charge more in the winter for the natural gas than they do in the summer. And I said, I was like, they do, don't they? Like, I thought they already did. I have that stuff all set to automatic bill pay, and I got to be honest with you, like, I know I have the money to pay it, and I probably don't pay attention to what those bills are as often as I should, right? But I think more and more of this is only going to be the model. By the way, the more you buy everything on the app, the more of this you're going to see. So if you don't want to usher in dynamic pricing, stop buying everything through the apps, because it's only going to usher more of it in. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, I know. And then 5 years down the road, everybody's going to be like, dude, you were kind of right about that one. Like, that's kind of, I mean, it happens to me every week. That happens to me. But I've seen dynamic pricing work, and I loved it. I called my brother last night because I was like, dude, I remember this correctly, right? He took me to this place in Vegas. I'm pretty sure it was called Dante's. And what Dante's did is, it was like a dive bar. And it's like a locals place. Like, you're never going to stumble into this place just like off the strip in Vegas. Like, you kind of have to know it, right? And it was awesome because they put all of their products and all of the pricing on a stock ticker. And it was all the way around, like, you know, the bar. And so there were no menus, there were no this. You looked at the board, and this is what everything costs. And I asked the guy the one day, and I said, dude, why is a Coors Light half as much money as a Budweiser right now? And he said to me, he goes, because most people in the bar are drinking Budweiser right now. I said, walk me through it. He goes, there's a reason why they're on a stock ticker, man. That's how I price. What? He goes, when the demand goes up, price goes up. But then conversely, my base prices, and that's what Wendy said, they're not sure they're going to lower their base price, right? He said, my base prices fall. So as Bud Light sales are going through the roof, come down, which make people do what? Now, Bud Light, Coors Light, 6 to 5 and pick them, right? Now you start drinking the Coors Light, especially, dude, if you've had 6 American Lights, I mean, what are we doing here, right? Like, it's like the Spider-Man meme, just pointing at one another like, same Z's, right? Like, I mean, it's kind of, I mean, right? Like, let's be honest about that. It's kind of where you're at with that. And so the prices would go up and down like the stock market, depending on what people wanted or did not want to hold. It was awesome. It was awesome because 1 hour, like a Jack and Coke could be $7. And then next hour, it could be $4. And like, my brother and I are degenerates. So instead of going to the casino to gamble, we were like, I bet you Coors Light wins by the end of the hour. And like, we just sat there and drank, and we bet with one another on that. And I thought it was a genius thing. So much so that when we bought our bar, and what I mean to say is when David bought his, and we opened that in Oregon, we called the guy, and we're like, do we want that? Like, that's a killer idea. Nobody up here's seen anything like that. Like, let me have it. What's it going to cost me? And I believe he quoted David at something like $200,000 or something for the program. And we were just like, we were not ready to make that kind of financial commitment into that place. We had already just made a huge financial commitment. But I thought it was such a good idea for a bar. And what he said, he goes, I maybe don't have more customers than I've ever had. He said, you know, people hear about it and they come in like you guys did. He's like, that does happen. He's like, but what really happens for me now is I sell all of my products now. He's like, I used to look at certain bottles of gin and they would just sit there for like years. He's like, now never. He's like, because people care about pricing more than they care about taste, brand value, what the name of something is. They care about pricing more than they care about it. Trumps every other decision-making factor that they use. Every last one. Price will always, always, always win. And I was like, okay. And he goes, so now I sell more things and my distributors are happier and I get a better deal on the back end because I'm selling more products out of my establishment. I thought it was genius. I really did. I was like, this is smart. Because again, it became a little bit more than just like sitting at a bar, having a drink, waiting for an event to happen, or maybe watching a game or whatever. It became a game. It became something you were talking to everybody else in the bar about. Now, this is before TikTok and all that kind of stuff, but it would have exploded on that. But like, I always thought that was a really good idea. And I think dynamic pricing works better in that kind of environment versus just saying, hey, it's noon. We know you want a double cheeseburger, so it's $30 now. Like that, I understand why people are going to push back on that. I get why that's not going to be a good system for people. But get ready. As more and more payments are digital, as less cash is in your hand, as more and more payments can only be made, not with a person, but by through an app. Just click here, click yes on this box that told you we're stealing everything off your phone. You don't care. You want to be able to make your payment right here. As you head more and more into that, they are going to put you right over that barrel. They're going to pull down them britches and smack that ass, baby, every last chance they freaking get. All while telling you, look how much convenience we just gave you. Like, that's what's going to happen right there, and you know I'm right. Get ready. We're only going to do more of this. Like, sorry, man, I'm just on my phone. Like, I just want to do it all right here. It's so convenient. I mean, you can just do it. That's why the deals are on the apps. That's why everything's there, because they want that cash out of your hand, baby, because cash is freedom, and we can't be having that. Let's get you into Primus and Coheed and Cambria. I'll take caller 12 right now, 330-450-7625. Toll free at 800-243-7625 on those Coheed and Cambria Primus tickets. Also, the list of things men need to stop apologizing for right now, they claim. Well, we'll run you through it next on The Stansbury Show.
You're never too old for a good morning kiss. The Stansbury Show. Rock 106.9.
Shout out to Justin Nally out of Deerfield. Justin headed to Primus, Coheed and Cambria, August at Blossom. I'll have those tickets for you again tomorrow on the show as well. August 5th is when you'll be able to catch that show at Blossom. LiveNation.com if you'd like to pick up some tickets for you tomorrow. Well, it's not maybe. It's coming to Wendy's, apparently. Dynamic pricing used to be called something else, but that sounded bad, so we relabeled it dynamic. It was called surge pricing, because that's what it is. But that sounds bad and sounds like you're getting screwed, so it's dynamic, man! Right? Like, that's what a fun game we're playing. And how it works is this. Wendy's is going to charge you more during lunch and dinner rushes for the food you want, and they'll go back to a base price in off-peak hours. I think all it's going to do is change when your peak hours are. I think people will go, I'll wait another 45 minutes to have lunch, another half hour to have lunch, and just have it delivered to my door. And it kind of goes back and forth. It made it kind of like a fun game. And my brother and I sat in there for, I think it was like 10 hours the one day, just drinking, watching games, betting on what was going on. I was like, well, I think it makes sense for a bar, and that's not necessarily dynamic pricing. Or where in actuality, a happy hour, normally they charge you less. But that was dynamic pricing too. People understand that, right? Like, a lot of times when you see happy hour, you can get this booze. Vodka and crayons are $3 at happy hour. Well, vodka is. But when you walk in there and order your Tito's and whatever, it won't be. Not that you can't get a good deal on a bucket of, Budweiser's at a bar. Of course you can at happy hour. Of course, right? Sure. There's that's out there for you too. Absolutely it is. So we were kind of talking about that. People hate it. Get ready, because I think we're only going to see more of it. Everything through the app, because it's talking about how he understands that people are struggling right now, how you're doing it. So Kellogg's CEO recognizes that we have a problem. And he's now suggesting the way you push back on it is start having cereal for dinner. So everybody's dragging them online. But this is run-of-the-mill. It's always been that companies and advertisers or whatever, they try to take the thing of the day and work themselves into it and kind of link arms with it and kind of like, so you identify with it. Okay, then now I go get Kellogg's because of this. It's always been that way. What's happening now is we're noticing it now more than ever, and we can talk about it amongst each other now more than ever. But none of these things are new. It isn't like this new version of CEO is worse than the last version. It's like, no, they're not. No, they're not. Like, this is pretty much the way it's always been. Now, we've seen this change a lot. Like, radio stations used to do that all the time. whatever the big story of the day was. Did people die in a submarine? We're sinking down to this. And we would have wrapped ourselves all around it. Now you can't do it anymore. It's like, that's inappropriate. Don't be doing it. Right? And a lot of that kind of stuff. So that's all he's dealing with here. Beyond that, cereal for dinner? Are you kidding me? Cereal to me is, I love it. I'm one of those guys that's got a plastic container you put into the cereal saver, like, you know, for getting Sarah Marshall. I'm that guy. I have that. I love that thing. I love cereal. But economically, I'm not sure that's the best way to spread your money out in the grocery store to feed your kids. I have a pretty healthy appetite right now. Like a box of cereal might be 3 servings, right? And like I pulled up grocery store, let's not name them because it's not their fault. I eat Life cereal. That's my favorite cereal. I'm one at a better price, so they do pull it off the shelf. Stansbury can go screw up these childless and moralless, like, dude, screw them. We get to spend as a meal, like it's massive. Doesn't. If you have teenagers, how long does a box of cereal last? 2? Like through 1.5 hour show, right? And the kid's done with it at that point. I think it's one of the more expensive ways to feed your children. Now you start talking about the bag cereals, which again, I love. I absolutely love the knockoff cereals. I think they're great. And I buy that. Those are now more money than they've ever been because, yes, everything is more money than they've ever been. But I think doing that, we all know the best ways to stretch the dollar in the grocery store, right? So first, we all know what's the number one I don't have a lot of money food? Ramen, right? Which I love. I love ramen. Now there's 9,000 forms of it in the grocery store now because it has exploded over the last handful of years. So it's not just like the shrimp flavored 10 cent a packet ramen. There's all kinds. But like if you want to buy ramen, there your money's going a long way. Pasta and sauce, where it like pasta sauce feels expensive now. Like the sauce feels expensive, although you can make it at home for a lot less. And by the way, really easy. Like it's very easy. It's literally tomatoes and heat. Like it's very, very, very easy, right? So you could do that. Pasta and sauce stretches very far. Very, very far. Pancakes, if you want to talk about a food we associate with breakfast, and cereal shouldn't really be, given all the sugar that's in it. But, you know, welcome to the food pyramid that the food companies gave you. So at the end, oh my God, dude, I love this country, dude. It's my favorite place on earth, baby. I love it. I will never leave it. But pancake mix is like most of the time, that's just mixed water, maybe 1 egg in it. And like that will go forever. Feeling a little harder to make a perfect pancake than the average person thinks, right? Get it really hot, and that's the best way. There you go. But I feel like ramen, pasta and sauce, and pancake mix are the fastest way, or the easiest and most inexpensive ways to spread your dollar out and feed the most amount of people at your table. Cereal, I get why people are dragging them for the suggestion because it just looks like, is he tone deaf and not understand? Oh my God, tone deaf, right? Like I understand the pushback there, but it's really crazy he suggested it because his product is 3 times more expensive than most things on the shelf.
To all the teachers who said he'd never amount to anything.
That is correct.
Lucky guess. The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.